Alright, hi, this is Michael Ellis, and today we're going to work on finishing up our problem solver, my design, orgonite devices. So things you'll need, we went over in the bill of materials video, but just as a refresher, things you'll probably need that weren't mentioned on the previous videos are a scale, gloves for hand protection and so you don't make a mess, hammer for assembling pipes, lots of cups, a lot of cups, cardboard, a tarp, or anything like to protect your surface, various types of metals we already went over, like gemstones that you might want to add to your devices. Place to work. If you're working indoors, even in a ventilated area, you're going to want a mask that's rated for organic solvents. Doesn't matter what type of resin you're using, you still want to wear a face mask if you're working in a poorly ventilated area indoors. So you got our gemstones and everything. Your metals, you want to have metals. Don Croft says to use metals, to use metals as smaller than 1 inch square. So that could be like BBs, machine shops or sign shop, shavings, scrubby pads, cut up, nails, BBs, anything you could think of smaller than 1 inch in shape. Your pipes, approximately 1 foot. You can add extenders on if you want to go larger than that, but a sword device is stable for casting. You want to have it less than 1 foot, approximately. You're going to need end caps, so you can put the pipes in the devices and it doesn't get the resin seeping in. You're obviously going to need some type of epoxy. The kind I use is a tabletop type of resin. It'd probably be best if you use a type of deep casting resin that's made more for like sculpture type of devices or casting. So we got our SBB coils. Those are just for fanciness. But, so you're going to have some crystals with points. Those we use more for orgonite devices versus anything else. I got some extra pipes I made out of refrigerator tubing, the type of like water tubing for back refrigerators. It's copper tubing, but I straightened it out and cut it with one of those pipe cutter devices, so it actually makes a very small diameter pipe. I'm just going to use those as accents on the pieces. They're totally not required for it to work. So I got brass. I ran out of copper, so I have brass and aluminum. That's what I'm going to use in this device. Then we got our special sauce we made doing our alchemy, and I like to throw in some herbs because the orgonite device kind of amplifies the effects of those herbs, and that kind of makes everything feel kind of nice. And lastly, you're going to need lots of cups. If I didn't say that before, I said it before. For holding resin, for measuring resin, for transferring metal, all sorts of stuff. And primarily we're going to use a cup as our mold. Just party cups, you can get them at the grocery store or order them online. If you want to be real fancy, you can get molds of various designs. Silicone preferably, because that you can use over and over and it releases nicely with the resin. And just for any excess resin, as we're doing our layers, I usually bring out some type of mold that I can just work on with the excess resin, so it doesn't go to waste. In this case, I have coasters. That's what I do, and I sell the coasters at craft fairs. Sometimes people buy them. They look kind of funky, so I'm a nice trinket. we'd use them around the house, so they don't go to waste. And I think I mentioned you need a hammer. So we're going to begin with the hammering of things. To begin with, you're going to want to assemble your pipe. In most orgonite devices, you're going to need a pipe with an end cap. This primarily directs the energy of the device skyward. In most cases, when you're doing earth pipes, you want it earth and sky. But in most orgonite devices, we use an end cap and a pipe, 1 foot to 6 foot long. We usually do a 1 foot in the device, do a like a link extender, and then put a 10 foot pipe on, or 6 foot pipe on, sorry. And then, like in the case of the cloudbusters. So if it isn't going on very well, just hammer it on. And then you're going to want to remove the sticker from the back, because that can have negative energetic consequences, we've been told. By the powers that be. So just get that. Doesn't have to be perfect since it's going in the resin. And just get that barcode off of there. We don't make barcodes. Just whatever you can do. If you really want to get it off of there, some goof off or acetone. If you're concerned about the printing on the pipe itself, acetone will take that right off. Just use like a paper towel or a Kleenex or something and some acetone, and it'll come right off. So I'm going to use this one. This is I cut it to a certain point, and it's all funky like that. It shows it to cycle that from the project. So we're going to begin with our cup as the mold. We gotta think. Okay, so step backwards. Safety. You're going to need eye protection because you don't want to get resin in your eyes or any of the metals. And we're going to need gloves and some kind of surface covering that's disposable. Because resin goes everywhere and it gets very sticky and it doesn't come off, even with lots of soap and water. So for resin cleaning, they recommend like a mechanic soap, like oil soap, like exfoliating. I forgot what it's called. There's like an orange soap or something. I don't know what the brand is exactly, but just like there's just like a brand of exfoliating soap that's good for getting oil and residue off. I forgot what it's called. It comes in an orange bottle. Or just kind of like a machinist soap, or a mechanic soap, something like that. So I'm going to use this for our device. I've already went ahead and well, actually the pyrite I didn't, but the amethyst and the emerald I already smashed apart in the bag. So if you want to crumble apart or smash apart your crystals that you get, like I usually buy rough crystals online. They tend to be cheaper than tumbled stones or whatever. So I like to smash them down into smaller particles so they fit in the molds nicely, and they're kind of decorative that way than the big chunks. I use a plastic bag around them and smash them with a hammer. It does kind of leave holes in the bag and dust kind of gets out, so be aware of that. But it breaks them apart into smaller pieces and they don't go everywhere and cause a mess. So then I just put them in a container or something. It works good for making organic places. So we got our mold. So first things first, we're going to start assembling the device. Initially we're going to, I guess our coils don't exactly go all the way to the bottom. This one's smaller, that one's pretty relatively large. Actually, yeah, I guess this one does sort of fits. That's how we're going. So we have that. We're gonna put a little stones in. Pyrite is a grounding stone, so that's where I like to have it. It also kind of empowers the ego. It's fool's gold, as you know, but people in the know that it does attract wealth as well. So, alright, let's get measuring our resin. Our resin is, as I said, is tabletop resin. So we're going to measure it out. It's a 1-to-1 part resin, and you want to measure those to weight rather than eyeing it or doing the volume measurement. They usually recommend to weight, so it's helpful to use a kitchen scale or a scale devoted to. You want to devote it to your resin because it's going to get all over it. So we're going to put the cup on, turn it on, so it automatically tires to 0. And then we add our other parts. Another 6.2, and we should end up at 12.4. Now stirring. Oh, I didn't bring a stir stick. Use a stick. Stick. Enough. Alright. Now for stirring, you want to use something disposable. I actually found that using sticks themselves and reusing it is actually perfect. You're going to want to stir for 60 seconds or a minute, and every 30 seconds go around the outside and get it all mixed in. So I end up going about 70 seconds stirring, so you just count to yourself. Edges and down. Try not to get air in while you're stirring. $60, you're on the edges on the bottom. 65 is good. Alright. Oh, I didn't bring mica. Okay, so we got that mixed. I'm going to add a little bit of our secret sauce. Brought dandelion and hawthorn tea. Not to advertise for any particular company, but this is just a quick and easy way to get the herbs I want. Hawthorn on the bottom. Pretty small right that. So I'm down about ½ inch or so. got our mixed resin. We can use that indefinitely. So now we have to begin adding our metals. So for the bottom, I have the period on the bottom. I think we'll begin using a little brass. So for brass, I can basically pour it directly out of the bag. Actually, I think we're using it. Plug up the resin, that kind of sink through. Use the stick to kind of poke it down. Kind of mixes in with the resin. That's what we've got there. So it's kind of covered with resin. And we begin adding our layers. So next up, I'm gonna, since we're kind of the base of it, basil chakra, I'm gonna add some garnet stones. Just pour a couple in there. Good. Great. Guess now we'll start using aluminum. As you can see here, something I found interesting is you get a unique energy when you write words on your molds. I think it kind of goes with the Dr. Emoto's, Japanese researcher, into how water crystallizes under certain conditions. Things are words or vibrational frequencies are exposed to the water, tends to hold a memory and then crystallizes in response to like what it was exposed to. So like even words or thoughts or prayers can affect how water crystallizes. So I found it useful to write words on my molds. Kind of tends to create a different type of energy. Okay, so I'm going to add some aluminum now. Now some people say aluminum isn't good for orgonite. I found differently. I found it works just as fine as iron or brass or copper. People tend to downplay it, but it's actually pretty good tactically. So I covered the resin up with aluminum, and we're going to work in layers. So just resin metal, just as the orgonite, the orgon energy pros do it. This goes all the way back to Sensei's videos, Sensei Dennis. And poke it down, it'll mix up good. Right. In hindsight, I should have thought to bring something to kind of balance the pipe in. Since now we've achieved about an inch or two at the bottom, I think we can add the pipe in. We'll kind of work around it now. So just for color, I'm going to add another layer of brass. And add around the pipe. Let's see where we're headed in that direction. Of course, that means another layer of resin. Layer of aluminum. Always put your best intentions. And I think that clears up the need for some aluminum. There's a emerald looking seam. Okay. Add in a couple of pieces of it, kind of backwards. brass. I used the wrong pipe. Okay, we're making two of them anyways. So, let's put brass in. Right. Amethyst and brass. Check. And, some more resin. This work cleans just all good. That's all there is to it. Brass is out. Right. So I'm going to add some ferrite. There's the emerald. Very nice emerald. Now we can add the tiny pipes. See, guys, and I just did like a aluminum foil tape, and that seems. I'm just gonna twist. Next thing. Take up to 24 hours for the resin to cure, so be patient with it before demolding. And big molds can heat up, can get very hot, so be aware that this may actually heat up depending on the type of resin you're using and the actual batch chemistry. I know during the winter they tend to sell batches that are more that cure warmer in order to get a better cure, even depending on the type of resin. Even if it's the same resin product, they can change the chemistry a little bit depending on the season. Depending on the climate it's manufactured in. So just be aware that if you're making a very large layer cast, it may heat up quite a bit, depending on the type of resin you're using. So looks like we've got it pretty secure down there for the resin layer. So keep building it up. secret sauce, I forgot. Our secret sauce for my ultimate experiment. I forgot to bring a dropper over. So I put a tiny amount into our resin. Now, any amount of liquid you add into resin can affect how it cures. So just it's actually not mixing, it's falling off. Okay, so just add a little bit of that. And hopefully it won't stay sticky. It's actually existing. Yeah. Resin. And to top it off, some more garnish. And I think we're about done with our number one color, or problem solver. Number one problem solver. And just make sure those pipes are nice and level. That's kind of how we leave it. So thanks for watching. This is Michael S. And tune in for like and subscribe and follow for more tutorials.